Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so very much for taking your time and tuning in to be part of our viewers and listeners. I'm not taking this support for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, the former IEBC chairman of Wafula Chebukati has been trending for the last few hours and is trending at number one. And that tells you that Kenyans living in the diaspora, those who are living here, are searching for him. And I've just been wondering why Wafula Chebukati is trending. And I realized that one of the very famous bloggers, Cyprian Nyakundi, said something about Wafula Chebukati, and that is the reason why Wafula Chebukati has been trending. Now, Nyakundi took to his Twitter handle and he said that former IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati has been moved from Nairobi Hospital to Aga Khan University Hospital. The ex-IEBC chair is said to be suffering from an unknown illness. Quick recovery. Now, this is not the first time we've had this rumor about Wafula Chebukati's health. There is no official communication from the government. Wafula Chebukati is a former IEBC chair, or better still, there isn't any formal and official communication from the family. Now, before we delve into this discussion, I want us to remind ourselves about a few things about Wafula Chebukati. One, Wafula Chebukati has presided over now 3 elections. In 2013, he presided over an election that was marred with a lot of controversy. And Wafula revealed himself to us that he was under hostage. At some point, as IEBC commissioners, he told us that he was being overruled. And the information that we had then was that Nkatha, who was his deputy, used to run the show. And that anytime they voted on something, because there are supposed to be 5 commissioners, 6 including the chairman, anytime they voted on something, he was being overruled. Those were his very own words. And that election was marred by a lot of controversy. And in 2017, I think the same thing happened. And that is the time when one of the commissioners, Roslyn Akombe, who had resigned from a very lucrative job at the UN, came to assist their country to get a free, fair, honest, and verifiable election. And at some point, Akombe realized that things were getting thicker and she had to run for her dear life. In 2022, Wafula Chebukati was full of herself, or full of himself, of course. And it was an election that resulted into 2 of the commissioners, Masit and Cherera, again escaping and seeking asylum for their own dear life. And that election, today, people are challenging Wafula Chebukati or the IEBC to open the server. I was forgetting that in 2017, the IT guru Musando was murdered in cold blood, and no one has ever resolved that murder. So Wafula's tenure for the 3 elections has been marred by a lot of controversy. Now, the worst is 2022, when Wafula, we were told by William Ruto that someone even wanted to kill him. In fact, it is Roslyn Akombe who ended that discussion. Otherwise, they had started that narrative. The government had started that narrative about someone who wanted to kill Wafula Chebukati. You know how the Uda government would send bloggers, people like Itumbi, and they would run with the narrative that there was a container of blood and someone. And when they said someone, they were targeting Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Amolo Odinga, Kibochi, and now the late General Ogola. Until Rosalind Akombe said that why do we want to form a commission of inquiry to look into someone alleged who someone wanted to murder. Yet we have Musando. He just said we have someone who was murdered. Yet we have not even formed a commission of inquiry to look into what killed Musando. And then the government realized that we have been cornered. So that is briefly how Chebukati has fared on during the three elections that he presided over. And then he was awarded, is it the Elder of Golden something by the government? And Ruto praised Chebukati as one of the most gallant Kenyan sons that we have ever had. And then Wafula told us, if you look at his Twitter, that the IEBC under his patronage was invited to go and give a keynote speech, a lecture on election management, and they even won some president there, some accolade. So briefly, that is what how his tenure looks like. Now, before we delve into so much, ladies and gentlemen, allow me very quickly to request you to subscribe to our channel if you're doing this for the first time, and click the notification bell. This will allow YouTube to notify you whenever we release a video like this. Please help us share our videos, and don't forget to leave your comment. Whether it is a negative comment, a positive comment, we grow together. For those who we started together, you know that have been growing, or the channel has been growing courtesy of your criticism, pieces of advice, suggestions, and all that, because I know I'm human and we grow together. To those who support us in one way or the other, or one way or the other, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you so very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, when Chebukati wrote this, I want us to read a few comments before we, say so much. Someone is saying, I am sure Azimio supporters are happy hearing this news. Quick recovery to Chebukati, a man who saved Kenya from dynasty and tyranny. So this person believes that the dynasty and the tyranny, they believed it was Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila. And this person is reading from the narrative of the order that Chebukati saved Kenyans after some people went to try and overturn the will of the people. Otuoma here is saying, you don't joke with Baba Raila Odinga. This person feels that Raila's votes were rigged and therefore karma is coming in. Chebukati alidhani ataiba kura ya baba alafu iishe tu hapo, akule tomato yake. I don't care. That is someone there also is an Azimio guy. We wish him a very quick recovery. This is an UDA apologist there. Babu Owino is saying this. Association of State House Prayer Warriors. And Babu gives that name an initial, ASPWA, who are known to command heavens to release rain and who speak to the soil to produce bumper harvest, should urgently visit Aga Khan University Hospital. I think this just is trying to mock State House and Rachel and Mama Tabitha. The way this, everything's about prayer. They pray for soldiers going to Haiti. They pray for rains, yet people are dying. They pray for bumper harvest. The other day, Rachel told us that there was a kind of revival in Uganda, and that is why they received bumper harvest. We have a team that has decided to mock God, blasphemy, trying to justify illegality for prayers. I just wanted to read because there's something that I want us to get. Someone is saying that, for there is a God above, dear Chebukati, huyo sasa ashawekewa sumu, eliminating witnesses. Damu ya watu ni mbaya. Mothers who lost their sons, widows, orphans. What do you think has been their prayer? Wezi ishi long. Look at Kivuitu. Oswago is another facing turmoil. So this person just feels that maybe Chebukati is being sacrificed because he's a witness, and maybe it's also saying that people have been crying because of the way he presided over the elections, and they still all that. So Those are just but a few comments from Nyakundi's post. Now, like I said, I've not had, or we've not had on any official communication from the family. And when you say unknown illness, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something, that we are living at a very precarious situation and condition because Kenya is divided. And I know NIS is all over trying to collect and collect information. They want to hear what people are saying. And if it is true that Chebukati is sick, this is coming at a time when General Gula is dead. And General Gula was at the center of this narrative that someone wanted to kill Chebukati, someone wanted to compel him to overturn the will of the people. How I wish that Chebukati, who is at the center of all this hula baloo, would come and tell us what happened. Because the government waited for General Ogola to be dead now that he cannot defend himself and tell us the truth. And they changed that narrative very fast. At first it was Ogola, according to them, who led a group of people, the National Security Advisory Council, the NSAC, to go and overturn the will of the people. Then now when Chebukati is dead and the nation had revealed some leaked information that Ogola apparently had an SMS that vindicated him. Now they turned the anger to General Kibochi. How I wish that one day Chebukati decided to speak. You know, the former ECK chairman, Samuel Kivuito, was a very funny man. In 2007, when people butchered each other and we had IDPs, at some point in the middle of that crisis, I don't know whether the late Kivuito was really thinking well. At some point, he was telling us that someone is cooking figures. As people are waiting for Tarakanithi, you've heard the term Tarakanithi when people are joking around with it. Those who are in 207 understand. Juja was to come, Tarakanithi and where. And this guy was telling us that someone is cooking figures. You can imagine when there is tension in the country and ODM supporters are, breathing fire. And then this man who was at the center managing our election is telling us someone is cooking figures. Baadaye, later, Wafula was asked, do you believe Mwai Kibaki won? And told us, I don't know. One day we will ask Wafula Chebukati, and how I wish that he lives long, whether he believes for the 2 terms Uhuru won. 2013, I think it was Isaac Hassan, so in 2017. So we will ask him whether he believes that Uhuru won and Ruto won. I don't know his answer, whether his answer will be, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto, who is the president of this country, has always told us that he wants to unite this country by PR. The other day he was telling this son of Ogola, a man who has never been home, telling the people of Siaya that he wants to vindicate them from the yokes of poverty. He wants to build schools and churches. And you wonder, he wants to do this when the father is dead. Where has he been all along? And William Ruto was telling him that he's young, he can liberate Luos. This is the narrative of the rebels, and it's telling us that, he got this vision sometimes back. And Ruto wants to tell us that he's uniting this country. When you look at appointments, the country is divided. You look at how things are being run, the country is divided. We are living in a very divided country. You can see some people are being for Chebukati's blood, and they're telling him, rest in peace. Yet those who support William Ruto are saying that Chebukati helped this country. He stood firm, and at a time when some people wanted him to to overturn the will of the people. So we live in a country where people are aligned to their ethnic and tribal cleavages and party linings. That when someone is supporting William Ruto, supporting Kenya Kwanza, they subscribe to their political ideologies, then they love Wafula Chebukati. And they say, no, William Ruto won fair and square. But those who are Azimio apologists are saying, open the server. And they say Chebukati is the one who is responsible for even the deaths of the people were killed during demonstrations because they're saying if Chebukati had stood firm, maybe things wouldn't have reached where they are. So standing firm is now a term that is relative. For Azimio supporters, if he had stood firm, he would have declared that elections were rigged. For the Kenya Kwanza, if he stood firm to declare William Ruto as the president. But ladies and gentlemen, when you see people, because it is not in the African culture that you wish some people dead, but when you see Kenyans coming very public and saying Wafula should die, it tells you something. And William Ruto must understand that we are living in a very precarious situation. These things used to happen before 2007. In fact, before 2007, people never knew that we could butcher each other, that someone could just take a child and, cut the head. I mean, things that happened in 2007 are unimaginable. And sometimes it's very easy to talk about it and laugh if maybe one of your relatives was never involved. But it is because of the politicians. It is because of all these atrocities and things that we overlook, the red alerts. William Ruto should do something so that we unite this country. And I believe the time is now. Not by propaganda and false narratives and hoodwinking Kenyans, being real and doing things that unite us together. Number two, Kenyans have not healed. I have heard William Ruto repeat that Kenyans went to election and for the first time they buried tribalism. Tribalism. He was elected by majority, and then the power was handed over peacefully. And with that, William Ruto knows that he managed it. He knows that there can never be violence. And I know that they know that when people went to the street, they killed people. This is not the way to go. Kenyans have healed. No, Kenyans have not healed. They are quiet, but they have not healed. And you say when people are living with these scars in their heart, then this is, some battle that is being postponed. How I wish that Ruto realizes that Kenyans have not healed and that one day this is like, is it a dormant volcano or an active volcano that scientists and geographers believe that will one day erupt? This is what is happening in the country.